Now, this year's Royal Christmas is expected to slightly break from tradition as King Charles has decided to expand his guest list, inviting the Queen's children to join in the festivities at Sandringham. The King is reportedly hurt at the prospect of not being able to spend Christmas with his grandchildren, Archie and Lilibet, though. So, with me in the studio to discuss the Royal Christmas in general is historian and broadcaster Rafe Haydel Mankoo. Rafe, thank you so much for joining us. Resplendent in festive green, looking gorgeous. So, I'm going to start with the King's speech, to be honest with you, because it's all over the papers today. He's standing in front of this very, what's the word?
Very edible tree.
Eco-friendly tree, yes. It's got, well, bits of orange hung on it, basically.
That's what I mean.
So, yeah, so tell us more about what we can expect from the King's speech, which you can watch on GBNews at 3 o'clock tomorrow.
Yes, do tune in on GBNews to watch this. It's the 91st King's speech, every year since 1932, when King George V delivered the first one, televised since 1957 with Her Majesty. And, of course, we don't really know the full content. We know that His Majesty, more than the Queen, actually, has really written this himself, with only having it run over by the private secretary with some input. So this is very much the King's personal message.
Slightly dangerous?
Well, he's discovered actually quite late in life that he actually works best when he's written something, and he tries to write it as late as possible, because he finds off-the-cuff remarks suit him much better than prescripted things, which can, of course, go wrong, but we assume it won't. You know, last year was very much a tribute to his mother. This year, of course, the living tree that we're seeing in the images that we have so far suggests that the environment and sustainability will likely be one of the topics addressed. We know that's a big hobby horse of his. And, of course, he'll be delivering it this year from Buckingham Palace rather than from, say, Windsor Castle, with that famous balcony behind him, which I think is a quiet nod to the coronation. And then this was my year, of course. You all remember that balcony scene with me wearing the crown. Here I am your king. And, you know, other issues we can probably expect to have, maybe the cost of living crisis. I suspect there'll be some sort of reference to peace around the world, given what's happening with in Gaza and with Ukraine. But also, of course, I think a lot of stress also perhaps on family and unity. The royal family always try to project an image of togetherness and family at this time of year. But, of course, in recent years, that's become all the more important given certain developments that we've seen.
Which brings me on to the fact that the picture of him standing in front of his tree with the balcony in the background and no family pictures. Now, even the Queen, God bless her, got in trouble, didn't she, for when her Christmas broadcast and she had the family pictures. And people would analyse which pictures were in the background, and once there was no picture of Harry and Meghan. And so so he's avoiding all of that as well, isn't he?
Yeah, I think that's quite diplomatic. People always analyse the background to see who's in, who's not in. It's rather like those pictures on the Kremlin when you would see who is there and who's in favour, who's not in favour. And, of course, we know that the reason that Harry and Meghan were omitted from one of the Queen's images was because they wanted to show the direct line of succession. They were trying to streamline the monarchy. It wasn't done deliberately as a snub, although that's how it was interpreted by the Sussexes. And this, I think, is a much more diplomatic way to go about it. Have a nice window shot behind you instead of the usual
It's very diplomatic. So, talking of the Sussexes, you mentioned them, not me. Do we know what their plans for Christmas are? Is there any sign of communication between the brothers, for example, William and Harry?
Well, you know, given the formality of the Christmases that Prince Harry grew up in, I think he much rather enjoys that sort of laid-back California-style Christmas. Perhaps, you know, just having, you know, some sliced ham and so forth rather than the usual turkey, because they have that on Thanksgiving, of course, don't they?
Yeah.
This may be the very last year that they're at Montecito, given that they want to up sticks and move to Hollywood. So whether they're going to be spending it at Montecito with Meghan's mother, Dora, or whether they want to go on holiday remains to be seen. But I suppose they might want to spend their last Christmas at Montecito if they are going to be going away.
But it is sad that, you know, the King won't be spending any time with Archie and Lilibet.
It is. It's sad, but not unexpected, of course. But after the book Endgame by, you know, Harry and Meghan, selfie stick in waiting, Omid Scobie, I think it was all but inevitable that there was no chance of a reconciliation in the short term. But to make up for that, of course, we now have a break with tradition where we have the Queen has invited her children and her grandchildren to attend. So there will be many new young voices there. 8 in total, new people coming to the festivities this year. So there'll certainly be no shortage of young children running around.
I would love them to. I would love to get the kids' opinion on this tree, I must admit, because kids like sparkles at Christmas, don't they? And this literally has pine cones and bits of dried orange.
I think Buckingham Palace is quite sparkly anyway.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you.